So yeah, this is I have been waiting for.
Alright, I'm going to build the cheapest 5-inch digital drone possible. Like the cheapest one ever. Well, not exactly. Hype is cool, but in this case, it really only works for me. And here's what I mean. I want to build a drone from whatever I already have at home, mostly used parts. If something is missing, I'll just order the cheapest possible option, but still something decent. Then we'll put all this together and compare it to my daily drone built with high quality, expensive components. Let me show what I'm talking about. What am I missing here? Okay, motors first. They are decent motors, I really like their specs, but their ones have definitely seen some life. And I also got a couple of used stock, like this Maps one. It's been waterproofed and it even lived on my bunted drone. But I also have one very interesting stock, the TBS Lucid. It used as well, and there were reasons why I removed it from my previous build. And somehow I still have a DJI Vista here with power camera. It's been through years of abuse and still works. So that's what we'll use on this drone. When I say cheap, yeah, there is a used buzzer that's going in too. The FC even has a dedicated crossfire mount, but a cheap build isn't about crossfire. It's about the cheapest ULS receiver possible with a ceramic antenna. I have to say, the components aren't bad. Some of them just didn't fit my previous build, like the TBS Lucid, where the space was an issue. And the motors, well, they just weren't out. Alright, it's time to put everything together, and we'll start with the frame. Speaking of the frame, I haven't used anything like this in years. I usually prefer super strong, durable, reliable frames like the Apex, JRL, and now its FPV airframe. But let's see how it goes. I bought this for $30 on the official website. That's crazy, super cheap. Building a frame should be fun. It's like Lego when you're a kid, except this time it's the foundation for our future drone. Okay, I have to say one important thing. Rebuild a drone is not the same as building a new one from scratch. You always run into little problems. For example, motors wire right to the ESC. In my case, they turned out to be too short. On two motors I extended the wires, connected them like this, soldered everything properly, and of course insulted it. For the other two motors I had some LEDs lying around, so why not use them here? Obviously, I also brought a bit of myself into this build. I found a bunch of ready-made 3D models and printed some TPU parts, arm protection and a few other things. And speaking of cheap frame, look, it's actually pretty good, but cheap also means that things like battery strap or battery part are missing. You have to take care of that yourself. I had one lying around. It's definitely not made for 5-inch, but hey, I'm using what I have. Alright, now it's time to plug in a battery and see if this thing actually works. I trust myself, of course, but a smoke stopper is never a bad idea. Okay, everything works. Good job. Let's check the weight. Fully loaded, battery, camera, everything. Okay. pretty much was expected. I still want to make a few adjustments. I'm not going to bore you with the details here. I already have a video on my channel about very precise speed tuning. For now, I'll just get everything ready for the flight. Drone ready to fly, ready to comparison. It's not precise tuned, but it's not a clean quad. But I guess we'll choose something special place, some special spot for test. Shall we? Look at this! Oh my god! Okay, speaking of special place, oh yeah, this is a very special one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mega Bando in Zagreb! For the sake of the fair comparison, I also have to fly my Aerodrone. This is a high-quality build, solid frame, good electronics, good motors, and most importantly, I'm very used to flying it. I just want to say it is extremely cold. People argue about components, about price, about specs, and who knows what else. I built this drone from whatever I had around. Motors were basically on their way to the trash, a $30 frame, and yet it still does its job. Of course, there are reasons why I choose different components for my daily drone, but that's a completely different story. This is probably not the best drone I ever owned, but it's good enough to be here. And sometimes that's the only thing that really matters.